You are watching Fight Feed, and today I will be breaking down the insane finish that El Matador Ilia Topuria scored over the legend Max Holloway, going through the finish and detailing all the things that I feel as a fan Ilia did very well in order to get this finish. Before I dive into the finish, I kindly ask you, if you are an MMA fan or a fan of UFC, to subscribe to my channel Fight Feed, because I will be continuing to post several different types of MMA content, whether it be predictions, whether it be breakdowns like this one. I am looking to grow a community with Fight Feed where we can all have a continuous discourse and viewership over several different elements of MMA, because I, like many of you, am a huge fan of MMA, UFC. I'm very passionate about the sport, and I'm also very passionate about content creation. And so I will continue to be making content for all of you to review and enjoy, and also for all of us to continuously build that fandom together and have our own community where we can all provide our thoughts. So I really appreciate you guys for watching it, and please subscribe. Now we can dive in to the finish that Ilia Topuria got over Max Holloway back in October of 2024. What I'm going to be showing in this video is really just the final sequence where Ilia actually gets the knockout over Max. It's not necessarily the final sequence when they start trading and the knockout happens. It's like the first, there's like two minor engagements that happen right before the KO. So that is where I'm starting this video from. I do implore all of you to go back and rewatch this fight if you can, because this fight is actually, upon me rewatching it, a lot closer than it appeared, looking back at, I guess not looking back, but it's just a lot closer than I remembered, basically. Because when I watched it live, I did think that Max was doing very well. But I think in recent months, just given how much Ilia has been able to, continuously promote himself, I kind of forgot how close the fight was from a striking perspective. I do think Ilia was likely winning the fight. It is a toss-up, but it was definitely closer than I remembered. So what I've got showing here, this is the exchange that kind of starts everything off for the finish. And if I'm looking away from the camera, it's because I'm looking down at my iPad while I go through this, guys. So just looking at the initial part here, Ilia uses that masterful technique that, if you guys have seen my other breakdowns, several high-level strikers do this. He throws the lead foot over Max Holloway's lead foot. He is in the orthodox stance when he does this. So he plants his foot on top of Max's, who's in the southpaw stance. So that would be Max's right leg, right? And coming from that, Ilia traps that foot of Max, okay? And then he starts to throw it's kind of an interesting right hand, because if you watch this, it's almost like a straight the way that it comes out initially, but it does have a bit of like a hook. So I would say it's kind of like a blend between a straight and maybe like a very loose right hook that Ilia throws here. And what you're going to notice about this is not, I don't think, meant to be a right hand that is, to hit Max and KO him. What I think Ilia did here is he is actually throwing that right hand more so to set up the lead hook on the left side. So his left hand, he was looking to land that lead hook. And the reason I think this is, you will see it in the finishing sequence, but watch how Ilia, when he throws this right hand, he doesn't necessarily throw it with the intention of trying to connect on Max. And even here, you can see Ilia glances down briefly. See his eyes here? He's looking down. He's almost like double checking really quick. And obviously I'm going frame by frame. So these are things that we as fans probably won't even notice watching the fight live. But Ilia is looking down here, making sure he's got the positioning correct. And what he does next is he then throws that right hand, which, as you can see, he's not throwing with all that intention behind it, trying to KO Max here. But what you're going to notice is he's got all of his weight kind of getting ready to load up here, right? So his hips are square, and what he ends up doing is now he's bringing this left hand up that's down here, and the hips are in that rotation there, And this is going to allow him, when he throws that lead hook, to really throw with all of his might, right? Because his hips are here at the start, and then they're going to go like this. So we're going to go. Now, when he throws that first one, it doesn't hit Max the way that I think he intended, obviously, because Max is moving. Max throws a knee right after this. And Ilia's hand kind of lands right in the back of the neck, almost like he was trying to grab a clinch. And Max throws a knee here. Or I'm sorry, Max throws his own lead hook and kind of pulls back, right? So he coming from here, we got Ilia. And what's nice too is even after Ilia misses here, guys, this is where Ilia just shows that high level striking. He lands this kind of on the back of the neck. He's instantly throwing an overhand right that doesn't land as flush as probably he was hoping. And it's almost like it's like an overhand right, but more of like a, I don't know. It's hard to say, guys. It's hard to say if that's like was meant to be a hook or an overhand right. I like to think overhand right because he's going over the guard of Max there. But Max throws his own lead hook and he pulls back. Okay. And one thing I want to call out about that too is if you watch this fight again, you will notice that Max throws that lead hook quite a bit in this fight, and he had a lot of success with it himself. He did tag Ilia a few times. So as Max starts to pull back here, this is right where Ilia wants him. Because if you guys know anything about Ilia, you know this dude wants his opponents to get their backs against that cage. And once he gets them against that cage, it's all over for them, really. And that's what is happening here. I think Max starts to go backwards and realize that there ain't much place for him to go. So he goes back. And this is where I want to call out the finishing sequence, okay? Because you're going to see Ilia. So he moves forward, right? Like just a standard, advance forward there. This is pretty masterful, though, that I noticed from him. So from this stance here, Ilia is very square right there, like very like little distance between his rear foot and his lead foot. What you're going to see Ilia do here, he's going to bring this lead foot very far to the left. And I think I'm not an expert, guys. I've already mentioned this in other videos. I am like someone who just really enjoys striking. I am not a trained striker, like professionally trained. I do striking of my own, just, by watching UFC and then hitting my bag and hitting my century bob. But from what I can gather, I think that the goal of the move here that Ilia is making is he's bringing this lead foot very far to the left because Max is circling this way. And so Ilia is actually almost cutting off. And what's interesting is that Max is now in this orthodox stance. So it's not as easy just to say, oh, he's cutting off Max's lead foot. He's actually, what he's doing is he's cutting off that space so Max can't circle out. But in this current stance that Max is in, he's not actually cutting off the lead foot per se, because technically speaking, where Ilia's lead foot is and Max's lead foot is at this current moment, Ilia's already got that pretty much aligned or cut off. But what Ilia does is, like I said, he moves that foot very far left here. And what that does is that sets up the final, blow that Ilia is able to land. So in my opinion, Ilia throws that lead leg out there, and you can see it's a very dramatic distance now between the rear foot and the lead foot. And what he does here is he's got his lead hand right in the eyesight or eye line of Max. So Max can see, hey, look, buddy, this is coming your way. And in reality, it's not, though. What Ilia is doing here, and you're going to see, he throws that right hand. Or no, he doesn't even throw the right hand. That's right. He like sets it up so that it's like, hey, it's here, it's coming. And as that's happening, he is got all that weight now on that lead foot. And you're going to see Watch how he turns this. He turns that foot over so he can throw that lead hook. Now, once again, he gets himself in this position where he's like contested by Max throwing this knee. So he throws this lead hook. It doesn't connect the way that he was looking to connect it because Max is kind of in motion as well and throws this knee. And gosh, if you guys look at this, look at how effortlessly Max switches stances here. He's orthodox. He grabs Ilia. And it's almost like, it's an orthodox body knee, but now like as he lands out, he's going to be back in that southpaw stance. So anyways, going back, Ilia's throwing this lead hook. It doesn't connect. So this is pretty masterful. It's about these like small details, guys, where Ilia is able to make an adjustment in real time that when we watch in slow-mo, it seems almost like I could do that, right? Like, myself and most of you probably watching this are like, I could do that shit. I would figure that out. But in reality, this is something that is happening like in real time. So this is milliseconds. So Max throws his knee. Okay. You're going to see what Ilia does here. He goes from, being in this position where his feet are close together again. And he literally jumps his entire body this way so that he can just reset and throw that hook once more, that lead hook. So here we go. He throws the body around. Okay. And what's interesting is you're going to see Ilia plant the lead foot instantly, right? So he throws his body in position. The lead foot is already planted here. The rear foot's kind of still getting there. And Ilia just throws that lead hook once more. His weight distribution is perfectly set already. It's all set to go once he gets that lead foot down. And he throws this lead hook once more. This is the one that Max is not able to get away from. Connects right on the chin. Just perfect accuracy on that one. And that one is the one that sends Max to the canvas. But when you see how Ilia throws this shit, guys, he goes from this spot here with his feet. He plants that lead foot. He pulls the rear foot back just a bit. And then watch how he turns that knee and this hip here. Turns that shit over. And just throws all of his weight into that. And it's so effortless for him. But I watch this, guys, and I'm fascinated because like as I continue to learn about striking, this is not an easy technique to throw as perfectly as Ilia is. And like if you guys ever actually try to box like on a punching bag, honestly, throwing the lead hook is very awkward at times, especially when you're in combinations. Like when you throw a jab straight lead hook, it is actually very difficult, at least it was for me at first, to make that feel like a natural movement. Because I do think that when you throw a jab straight, it's a very natural 1-2. Now, when you throw that lead hook behind it, it can be very difficult, especially as someone who's like a novice boxer. It's very difficult to kind of redistribute your weight. It takes a lot of training, I think, to get like it's gotten a lot more fluid for me, but it's very difficult at first. And the way that Ilia throws it is so effortless. Anyways, he lands this. Max drops down to the ground. And then Ilia just wraps it up with some vicious ground and pound. It was honestly a picture perfect finish from Ilia Topuria. And what I will say is when we look at this upcoming fight for Ilia against Charles Oliveira, I am favoring Ilia heavily to get a finish over Charles Oliveira. One thing that I will say, though, is when we watch this Max Holloway fight over again, you'll notice that Max had a lot of success. That doesn't mean that Ilia lost the fight, obviously, guys, but Max had a lot of success. And the one thing that I would say is a bit worrisome for that of Ilia is it seemed like Max was able, being that he was the taller fighter, he was able to get a lot of his clinch game going in this fight and land, just little strikes in the clinch, but also not necessarily in the clinch for Max. It was more so like Max was able to get his hands up and throw off the striking of Ilia in a way that when we think of Charles Oliveira's game, and the way he is able to effortlessly get his opponents into a clinch, throw the knees up the middle, I think that could pose issues for Ilia, especially if when you watch Ilia, he does a lot of like the almost like the Mike Tyson kind of like, head off the center line, but he gets very low to the ground, and that is actually very solid for his game. But where that doesn't play into his favor is that Charles Oliveira, if he's able to get Ilia into a clinching situation, or even throw that body knee, not even the body knee, but just a knee up the middle, that it could connect and hit Ilia on the chin, given that Ilia is kind of always bobbing downwards. But I do think seeing Ilia's rise and seeing how skilled he is with his striking, I just don't see a world where Charles doesn't get caught by one of these kill shots. Especially when you break down this video the way that I just did, you can see that Ilia is able to make these micro adjustments in fractions of time and capitalize off of those micro adjustments, especially when it comes to landing a shot. I think another thing with Ilia, he's a very quick and fast striker. He also has like some of the best striking accuracy. Like when he gets an opponent hurt up against the cage, the way he's able to throw in those body hooks and land them, like he is landing every shot when he's in it. Like when he gets into that flow state, which is more of like a finish state, he sees his opponents hurt. Ilia has like razor sharp focus where he can just find every part of your body that he can hurt, and basically he just throws those combos until the opponent falls like a fucking rag doll, and then he just walks off, sips his little tea, and that's it. Ultimately, I wanted to break this down, especially because we have this amazing title fight that's going to be coming up between Ilia and Charles. I'm super excited for that fight. I know you guys probably are too, and I will be breaking down that card, giving you guys my predictions probably the week of, but stay tuned for that one. And I'll also be posting up my fight predictions for the Baku or Azerbaijan, whatever the hell it's called, fight card that's coming up on June 21st. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed this. And please, as I say again, subscribe to Fight Feed so you can stay in tune with all the content I'll be posting, and so that we can continue to build this community and have a nice set of fans that want to continuously watch other content for MMA. I'm looking forward to some of your guys' comments. Let me know if you have any thoughts in the comments below. I will see you in the next.